Welcome to Birminology. Mitchell Melton. Do you prefer Mitch or Mitchell?
I'm good with Mitch.
Mitch, we cover Ohio State here on the website. We've talked a little bit in the past about your recruitment, and I want to just start with what I think is the most interesting thing about your recruitment. You are, 6'4", 220 some pounds?
Actually 230, but yeah.
230, 6'4", 230 pounds. What was the last time you ran a 40? Do you know? Not that matters. I know the 40 is overrated, but people are interested in it.
I think it was at the opening.
And what did you run?
It was like a 4.8.
So 6'4", 230 pounds, 4'8", linebacker, defensive end, with offers from Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Maryland, 25 other schools. Yet you are ranked as the 51st best linebacker in the country. How's that possible?
Well, I don't really believe in rankings to begin with. They don't have a true measure of your ability, but I guess my recruitment kind of started late in the sense I got offers maybe at the end of my sophomore year, beginning of junior year. It didn't really grow until after my junior year. So I guess I've had a late grow as of late and a late rise in recruitment. So I don't think that really has reflected in my rankings, but I don't know. Again, it doesn't really matter to me.
When you were at the most recent opening regional in Washington, D.C. 2 weekends ago, how did you feel like you stacked up against the best of the best? And what were the folks there that are in charge of the rankings? And, there's political stuff involved in a lot of that as well. What were those guys saying? Did they say, hey, you're due for a bump, this is coming? Or is it are they just sort of not acknowledging the obvious error that they are making?
I guess more so, I know what I can do, and I think I showed in those camps, but I don't really get much recognition. I get a couple of good jobs, you're doing great, you're doing it perfect, blah, blah, blah. But, I guess they're not, as you'd say in the political side, I'm not one of their favorites in a way. So I guess I don't get as much recognition, but I know when I'm out there, I feel great. I feel like, some of the top linebackers are some of my friends, like Ethan West and all those guys. But, I'm Curtis Jacobs, and we're just out there to have fun. I look at it more of the fun side and just competing with some of my teammates and my friends.
And playing linebacker in those camps is probably the worst position because you're put in a position that is almost impossible to succeed. So, how have you felt your recruitment change? I know you're saying it's starting to pick up. What does it mean to a guy like you, again, who's ranked so low, which is silly? But these schools, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, I'm going to stick with those three as a sticking point in this conversation. I know Maryland's involved in a lot of other schools, but what does it mean to have those schools tell you, hey, you are not just a guy to us, you are the guy?
Well, I guess when I go to these camps, I understand it helps more with my confidence and how I know who I am and what I can be. So I guess it's more so, more of a comforting kind of thing to know that I can go somewhere and still know that I have the ability to compete at a high level wherever I go, and it's I guess definitely a blessing in a way.
You have family that's from Ohio. Both your parents are from Ohio. Your sister goes to school in Ohio. What is it like for them to take you back home and to take you to the school that maybe your parents wanted to go to? How is that recruiting trip, and how does that feel? Is it more nostalgia for them, or are they trying to be like, oh, look how great Ohio is, or are you just like, Ohio is just another state?
No, Ohio's, it's definitely not another state because I've been there so much. I've been there throughout my childhood. I always have had family up there and always visit there whenever I can. So it's just like a normal thing that we do, and now we're going there to go see an awesome college at Ohio State. So it's just another reason to be in Ohio in a way. So it's more so it's just the familiarity of it because I've been there so much, and it's definitely a place where it's my second state in a way because I'm from Maryland, but I guess I have more family ties and family history in Ohio. So
has it been weird for your family, who I'm going to assume grew up as Buckeye fans, to have you, taking you on visits to Michigan and Notre Dame and having to listen to you speak positively about those schools as well?
At first it was we came in with our predisposed ideas about the schools, and of course my family, growing up Ohio State fan, I grew up Ohio State fan, but we understood in this process, the only way I can truly find the right fit for me is if I look at the schools all equally and all as just schools themselves and not what they are and what they are to us. And especially when it because I hate to say it now, but I used to like really dislike Michigan, and I remember always watching the game with such like I wanted Ohio State to win so much. But now looking back at it, I'm more so looking at myself not as a fan, but I play at each of those, so I can fully understand like what the school can do for me.
Now, for you, I mean, again, we cover Ohio State here on Lettermen Row, so I want to be clear that that's the majority of the conversation. But how does the relationship with Ohio State, how does it feel as a recruit, but also as someone who grew up a fan of the Buckeyes, to have that sort of relationship with the Ohio State coaching staff, to wake up and have a text message from the head coach at Ohio State, or back when they offered in November, I mean, it was Urban Meyer sending you a text message saying, hey, we want you here at Ohio State. Like, is that crazy?
I mean, of course it was at first, but I've tried. Well, definitely, I think I've been successful in trying to dial it back for myself, just to have like an honest viewpoint throughout the whole thing. So yeah, I remember when Urban Meyer used to recruit me, and I got to talk to him for the first time and be in his office. Like I was all excited, but at the same time, I understood that they want me here as a player to succeed here, so I have to treat it as like a professional interaction, because that's what it actually was. So I think I've gotten more matured with it. Of course, a little bit. I was a little immature. Not immature, but just excited in the fact that I could be recruited by such a great school. And I was just a fan growing up. But then I had to like look back and see like what I could be for the school, and just not look at it as a fan, but as a player.
And you're a guy that doesn't really do a lot of this media stuff, and I think that that's a decision you make on purpose. And I think personally, I think it's a great decision. I think it sometimes clouds a lot of what you guys are thinking and feeling, but. You know, for you, a player that not a lot of people know about, because again, you're not as hyped up as some of these others. Can you explain to people how often you're actually talking to Ohio State? Because I don't think that the average fan understands that you are the linebacker priority right now at Ohio State.
Yeah, I would understand it too. It's kind of weird for me, but it's like an everyday thing, pretty much. Me and Coach Washington, we develop a really good relationship in the process. And I try to text him and call him each and every day. And same with Coach Day, but not as much as Coach Washington, especially being the position coach for me. Yeah, but it's pretty much an everyday thing.
Do they have any conversations with you about potentially playing with your hand in the dirt and on the line? I know that Notre Dame, I think some of the other schools have kind of hinted that maybe they would see you there, but that's not what Ohio State sees.
Ohio State sees me as a true backer, like standing up. Like, Malik Harrison, number 39, they see me as like a kind of the same as him in a way. So I guess I'd be playing that position. But yeah, the other schools like Notre Dame, they see me as like a drop end in their defense. Not really hand in the dirt, but still not like a linebacker. It's like a hybrid position. So yeah.
What was your feeling when you watched Al Washington and Greg Madison, guys who probably had your interest in Michigan because of the defense that they ran there and how they ran it, to watch them transition over to Ohio State and know now that same defense, which was probably very enticing, could now be the defense at the school that you grew up rooting for? Was that like a aha moment? Like, whoa, this is good news? Or was that another one of those moments where you had to like dial it back?
It was definitely another dial it back moments. But it's more interesting in my opinion to see like how that happens like every day in the college football world, and just see like how he adjusted to it was really cool, and how like they all adjusted to it. Even like the people that were there before, how they adjusted to their new coach, especially coming from Michigan. So I was more like observing what was happening and how it happened and how they were like reacting to it. So,
I know that I've read that you have official visits set to Michigan for June 21st, to Notre Dame for June 7th, that you want to set up the one to Ohio State. What other schools are in the mix for those other two official visits, and what timeline do you think that the Ohio State visit happens? Is it going to happen bang, 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 Notre Dame on the 7th, Ohio State on the 14th, Michigan on the 21st, or do you think that's going to push into late July because you want to decide by August?
Yeah, so I've actually changed it up. I want to decide in like early July, like right before Independence Day. But I think right now my three top schools, like the three schools I'm looking for officials, is Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Michigan. And I'm open to other visits, but it's just more of a communication and seeing what other schools wants to offer me or anything like that. But I think the order is I'm trying to get Ohio State like the 17th or 18th. Still working on it.
So maybe a weekday visit?
Yeah. So probably be like Notre Dame, Ohio State, to Michigan. What you say?
So you're going to list. I mean, that's kind of a whirlwind, right? I mean, how do you take all that in and go place to place to place and really get a chance to absorb what you saw and learned?
That's one of the biggest parts. Is just I'm there with my family, and we can all just be there and work as a team and trying to figure out what we just what we just received from the school and what are they trying to show us, and like, so especially being with my family helps you like take it all in, because it is a lot, and it's a lot of schools at one time, but it's just helpful to have my family with me because they help me observe everything and try to put it like into feelings and how I feel about the school. So yeah.
Is there right now a feeling that each school offers you something a little bit different than the other, or are they all kind of intermingled and it's just about picking, you know, your spot with relationships or depth charts or any of that kind of stuff? Uniforms, who knows?
No, I think they're different kind of defenses, and they have me at different positions, but I still kind of see the role they see me as because of how I explained it in my high school, high school career. But I think it's kind of the same. There's obviously different positions, but what they see me as a person, they think is a great fit for their school. So I think that's why. I think it's kind of similar. Now,
I don't want to get people too geeked up, but that's a Cleveland Browns blanket behind you, right?
See, like,
I'm a Bengals fan, so I mean,
that's bad. My whole family, like, we're huge Browns fans, especially when Odell came. Like, we were all screaming. Like, I was trying to decide the right background. I didn't know if I should put this. But
it's my job to be observant. You understand? So I mean, that's the way it's got to be. So, listen, I don't want to keep too much of your time. I know that you're a busy guy, and really appreciate you coming on the show, giving people an idea of a little bit more about who you are. Last thing I want to ask you is this. Again, you came to visit Ohio State at the end of November for the Ohio State-Michigan game. You were offered by Ohio State on December 2nd, so 5-6 days after that visit. Mm-hmm. Urban Meyer retires the next day. How is it that, or what has Ryan Day and the current staff done to be able to stay involved with you to the point that they are?
I don't know. It wasn't like a difficult thing for them to do. It was just I was easy to contact, and we just started a good connection. And I think I kind of knew, like, we all kind of like, there were rumors of Urban Meyer, so it wasn't too much of a surprise. It was just kind of funny, the timing, if anything. But yeah, they've done a great job. It's like it was actually, I was kind of surprised as well, because I didn't know if the communication would still be strong, and maybe it was Urban Meyer's decision to offer me, or maybe, I don't know. And especially when the previous linebacker coach left too. I don't know if, like, the new staff would like me or this or that, but it's interesting to see, because it was like a seamless, like, I couldn't even tell that Urban had left in a way, and it was cool to see that the communication and relationships they're still trying to build were still there, and I was still one of them. So yeah.
Is the current group of commits, the 8 Ohio State commitments in 2020, have they started to reach out to you? Have they started to try to get to know you, or is that not part of this process yet?
Yeah, I think Luke Weiler or something like that, a lineman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he reached out to me. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name, but yeah, he's an offensive tackle, and I think he was like the only one that's ever contacted me.
Well, I think a lot of times, and again, especially just because you seem like a kid who sort of has this plan of your own, and I don't think a lot of guys like to be bothered by and being told, hey, come here, come here, come here. So I think that probably is a savvy decision on their part. So you wait till you make a decision and then start building that relationship. But anyway, Mitch, again, thanks for joining the show. Really do appreciate you taking some time this evening